Guys, screaming into the void.
Screaming into the void.
Take one. Action. Always wanted to do that.
Okay.
Always wanted to do that.
Okay. What's
All right.
you have fun over
I'm
there?
fun.
All right.
It's all about
Welcome.
Yes.
welcome. So, this is episode 2 of Screaming into the Void.
That's Cinco for you, Spanish.
That's not.
No, just kidding.
Shut up, bro.
That's dos.
So,
That's dos.
This is episode 2. Episode 1 of this podcast I shot in, I think, June of 2024. It is now, this is January 13th, 2026. No, wait. It wasn't 20. It's 2020.
2025.
I can't even remember.
We're in
Hold on.
2026.
No, it was 2024.
Okay.
It was
2024.
thank you,
2
Sean.
years.
Yeah.
All right.
The first episode of this podcast I shot in June of 2024. It's been a year and a half. It's been a year and a half since the
change.
last episode, and a lot
That's
has
nice.
happened since
Yes.
the last one. So I have my little notes here of what I want to talk about.
Awesome.
So, for everyone tuning in at home, this is my boy Sean Flight.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Last episode was with my previous roommate, my best friend Sophie, who is now in Portland, living her dreams.
Deuces to Sophie.
Deuces to Sophie. I got a new roommate. I got a new, decorating scheme.
Yes.
It's been a minute.
Yes.
But yeah, I got my boy Shauna here, and we're gonna get to interviewing him in a sec. Before we do that, I need to go over some things and talk about a little bit of what this podcast is gonna be about.
Let's go.
What's going on?
Lay it
what
out.
we're doing. Thanks, Sean.
Lay it out.
So anyway, I'm Alexander Waters. I would call myself a multi-hyphenate artist, I think. I'm a musician primarily. And in recent years I've expanded. I'm a musical theater composer, songwriter, producer, recording guy. I write stories. I started drawing too. I have comic ideas I want to get to. And I love artists and I love making art. And specifically, I am fascinated continuously by the stories of how artists make their lives. How you start a career. Because that's like, I've always had this thing ever since I was, a kid and deciding that I wanted to really do this for my life is whenever I find someone that I admire or someone that inspires me or a career I want to emulate, I research the fuck out of them. I will go on the Wikipedia. I'll read everything. I want to know where they went to high school. I want to know how they got started. I want to know how they got their first break, everything. Because I feel like in society that we have and the way that we view artists, there's this kind of attitude of the overnight sensation of I just feel like there's not enough documentation or not enough stories told about how you get from being just a regular Joe to being on Jimmy Kimmel or something. Because it feels like...
So you're saying you can't just you can't just be a one-hit wonder and just make a song out of nowhere and...
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you can. But I think it's I would love to hear more stories. I feel like people gravitate so much to the one-hit wonder stories of he posted his first track on SoundCloud and it just blew up and now he's famous and everybody. I want to hear more stories about the guy who, grinded for 20 years and failed a bunch of times and thought he was never going to make it. Because it's when you get that break, if your song blows up or if you get the record deal or whatever it is, then it's gravy. But how what about before then?
Right.
And what if that break doesn't come? And what if it doesn't come for a long time?
Right.
What do you do in the meantime?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, speaking from personal experience, it can feel really hopeless, or something will come along that you thought was going to be this huge thing, and then it falls apart. And it's what do? You just give up? No, of course not.
Nah, you gotta keep moving.
You gotta keep making. And so I wanted to start this podcast, and I talk about this in episode 1, but this is kind of a reboot, which I'm going to get to. But I want to make a podcast. I want to make this podcast for 2 reasons. One is I want to have a documentation and a record of my creativity and my journey as an artist.
Right.
Because for like I said, whenever I find an artist I admire, I want to know the nitty-gritty details of how they lived their life and how they got to where they go. So I want to provide that for, in the future, when I become successful, because it's gonna happen. And if I have people who are like me, who are kids who see my work and admire what I do, I want them to have this of like, so they can really see what it was like and understand that lifestyle and what they're signing up for, you know? So I want that. And then the second thing is I'm fascinated by these stories. And so I want to bring on people like yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
To bounce off the ideas and my experiences, but also, you know, I want to hear about you, because it's like we've had a little bit of conversations about this before, but I'm so curious to dive into your whole deal, man. like where you started, like everything that's going on. Because me and Sean have been working together for a few months now, playing music together.
It's been an amazing journey.
It's been awesome. Yes. So we're gonna start with talking about some things. I have some notes on here, and then after I'm done talking about updating what's going on with me, we're gonna switch over and we'll talk about what's going on with you.
Yeah, let's go.
So, that's the podcast, and I want to talk about, like, it's been a year and a half, and I honestly think that is like showing that speaks to what the podcast's about, because it's like, you know, running a podcast isn't an easy thing to do.
No, not at all. So it has its, you know, there's pros and cons to podcasts, and you kind of like go in it. You kind of gotta go in it like just whims all over the place, and just be like, let's try this out. It's it's, you know, aside from like the camera setup, you know.
Yeah, because we got a camera set up.
We have a camera set up.
The most obvious thing that people are gonna notice going from episode 1 to 2 is this looks so much better. Thank you, Nesta, back there.
Shout out to Nest.
Shout out Nest. Because the first time we did this, it was just me and my roommate, and you know, we had no idea what we were doing. I just wanted to start this and talk about these things. And we filmed some more episodes after that first one, but I lost them.
Oh no!
I lost them. I couldn't find them anywhere, and I didn't upload them, and then they just disappeared. Which honestly, I kind of like, because I like that we had that first episode to kind of like show this is really what it's about, and now we're coming back to it. And so I want to try, you know, now that I have my boy Ness over here to really give us the equipment and the space we need to do this more professionally, I want to try coming back and doing an episode every month. Interview a different person every month, and go with that. So that's the deal with the podcast. Now I gotta talk about where the fuck have I been for a year and a half? What's been going on? Because the last time when we shot the first episode, I was in such a wildly like different place. Like I feel like a whole different person creatively now. A lot has changed. I want to talk about that, because it was like the whole idea is to document the step-by-step process. And a year and a half is a long time to miss.
That is. People, you know, people have, you know, they go into their cave, they go into their like mental, spiritual vacation, you know, to regroup. So sometimes it takes longer than others.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a couple weeks, but you know, I personally feel like those times, like, it's important to take like that break.
Absolutely.
But you know, everyone has their reasons.
Yeah. And it was like, I guess it's interesting you say that, because I hadn't thought about that. Like, I guess it was kind of a break in a way, because I was doing a lot of work, but my whole thing for 2026 is like, I want to be more organized.
Okay.
That's my goal. I've been like, I have a spreadsheet that I'm trying to organize my time and my weeks in. Like, I want to make sure that I'm consciously working on projects. I'm not just like bouncing around to whatever I feel like doing in the moment, and like, because I got a lot done last year. Just doing that, but it was like, I think I could be doing a lot better with like, if I can organize, I think I'll be less stressed and more productive at the same time. You know what I mean? But anyway, let me just give like a quick, and this is for you too, because like we've been working together for a while, a couple months now, but there's like, I would really love to like totally give you the full story of where I'm coming from, and then hear your full story when we get to that too. I'm excited for that. So basically, when we the reason I started this podcast, what was the kind of inspiration, and when I started with a year and a half ago, was I have always really, really struggled to feel like understand how I want to put out music, because I've been making music for a long time, and I've had a lot of things happen, and I talk about it in the nitty gritty of it in episode 1, so I don't want to go over that too much again. But basically, when we shot episode 1, it was because I felt like I had kind of found the project that I was excited about, and that was an alias that I called Goldfish 24, which was basically a combination of this very more hyper pop, experimental, electronic alias that I played with called Beta Fish, and then kind of then more I would call like normal music or pop music or whatever that I was making that I thought would just be under my name, and then put them together, and that was Goldfish. And then I did that for a while. For a couple months, and I focused. Goldfish was the focus, and then what happened was that got totally put on the back burner because theater took over my life. Because we shot the first episode in June of 2024, and at that time I was really focused on trying to make that happen. And then I'm also a theater composer. I have a musical that I was writing, that I've been writing since I was like 16, and I got the opportunity to do a workshop for it at the New York Film Academy in April of 2025, but I got it like right near the end of 2024. And then I started to meet all these incredible actors. Like I met AMDA alumni at a Halloween party, and she introduced me to like all these incredible actors, and I was like, oh my god. So we filmed all these demos of songs from my musical, and then in early 2025, to kind of build up hype for the workshop, we did a 54 Below show of my musical.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And that was
a popular venue.
Yeah. That was one of the most intensive like work periods of my life, honestly. Because like it was straight up like from November of 2024 all the way to like April of 2025, I was doing nothing but theater. Because I was filming all these demos, and then putting together the 54 show was insane.
Right.
It almost like didn't happen.
Right.
Because there's a ticket deadline at 54 Below. You have to sell a certain number of tickets by a certain point, or they cancel the show. Right. And Sean, we sold enough tickets that they wouldn't cancel the show half an hour before the deadline.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Hustle is
and
real.
It was because me and my mom bought 3 tickets.
Yeah, I know. That's how it has to work sometimes. To be honest, to be honest, that's how it has to work sometimes. You got a last minute like, listen, we got it. The show must go on.
You do what you gotta do. Don't tell 54 I said that. But and we got, it was a great show though. It was like probably the biggest at the time, and maybe still like the biggest creative accomplishment of my life, because it was like this fancy like dinner venue. I had like 50, 60 people show up.
That's amazing.
It was putting this show on stage in like the city that I've been working on in my bedroom in New Mexico. Since I was 16, and like it felt like a big, and it didn't just feel like a big step. It was a big step. Right. And then the month later, we had the workshop at NYFA, which was incredible. It was I got to work with this incredible director named Dave Solomon, who was such a fantastic mentor to me, and like him, and it was such a collaborative experience with the students too, because it's like I was told by the director of the department, Miss Christy Cates, who was again so unbelievably kind and just open and believed in me. It was like the first person ever really believe in the show. She told me after the workshop she chose my show, because there was like a couple shows they were thinking about doing, and the reason she chose mine was because it was the best idea that needed the most to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay, basically it's potential.
Yeah, she said I had a lot of potential, but she was apparent that I was like a teenager when I wrote it, and like, cause I had no fucking clue what the professional theater industry looks like. I just wanted to try writing a musical. I kept doing it.
Exactly.
And and so it was just such a watershed moment for me, I guess. But then that was early 2025. Then after that was over. I was like, okay, I can finally get back to Goldfish, this project that I started that I really wanted to commit to. Because it's like people always ask me if you had to pick one thing, because I do so many things. People always ask me what would be your one thing, and I always tell them, go fuck yourself. I'm not gonna pick one thing. But like if I had to, like, making my songs, like theater is everything, and like I care about that just as much, but making songs, like producing stuff on my laptop is where I started. and that was what I was trying to make Goldfish. And then I did that for like a couple months, and I just was miserable. It was weird. Cause it was like a whole, like I had like a costume, and I was trying to be anonymous and like make it an alias, and it was just weird. It was like, this is another reason why I really want to have this podcast, is to talk about things like this, cause I feel like no one talks about that, of like, trying out different things. Cause there's a million ways to release music, and like I've tried out like 3 or 4 like names or brands, and none of them felt right. And that's what Goldfish felt like, is like, okay, I finally got it right, and I kept trying to do it, and it still didn't feel good. It was like, and the problem that I've now feel like I've conquered, was the reason I felt like that was making me miserable in like mid 2025, was I was so afraid of being myself. Yeah, because I felt like, because it's just, we were talking about this when you got here before we started filming, was like, you put me on this bill this Friday. I got a show this Friday. That's crazy. We'll talk about that too. Because you said like when you listen to my stuff, you can't point to like one genre,
one artist that Alex sounds like. But
and you I felt like you complimented me because you said like that's a good thing.
Yeah. Because there's, pulling influences from everywhere is kind of better than just that. I mean, people have one influence. It's fine, but I feel like you kind of mold into something different or more unique when there's influences from everywhere. That starts to attach. But definitely, like, I did want to ask you a question about the alias and the.
Hey, what's up?
Like, what was that you wanting to like? Dress yourself, was that something that you were like wanted to do like earlier, or is it something that you just felt like you felt more comfortable just putting out your music and not having people to see someone visually? You just wanted to see how the reaction that listeners will get from just listening to your music.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like we talked about this with Sleep Token too. You remember Sleep Token?
Crazy band.
Crazy. Amazing. Fucking love Sleep Token.
That's one of some of the things that I think about, is how because I had like, ideas of wanting to do that for certain songs, like just have a mask, like whether it's some kind of anime mask or something just really like.
Hey Sean,
where people are just.
I'm so sorry. Can you hold the mic closer to your face?
He told me this before. I keep.
Yeah.
But definitely like having something to where it's just. Like Marshmallow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or like Deadmau5.
Yeah, so something like where people are just like listening to, just listening and hearing. Because sometimes people hear, they see. Well, when they see, they hear.
Yeah.
And when it's their only option is to listen, because they don't really have something fascinating or crazy to see. They kind of just gear to listen. So
I think the reason I gravitated towards it was because. I mean, a part of that was really attractive to me, of the anonymous artist, of like the just having it be the music. Okay. I love that. But if I'm being really honest, I think the main reason I wanted to do an alias was because I felt like I needed to create separation between myself and the music I was making.
Okay.
Because and this is why I think it turned out to and Goldfish 24 is not something I would say I've abandoned. I still think I would call it shelved for now, but I might come back to it still, and I still think it's a cool idea, and it's just not what I want to focus on right now.
Right.
But I think the reason I created that persona was because I felt insecure about presenting the sound that I was making as me.
Okay.
Because I felt like it was too different, or like it wouldn't make sense. Because I had experiences when I was younger of like talking to PR people or like managers, and them telling me like I wasn't marketable because it's too diverse.
Right.
And that's the thing that I thought, that I feel like I've come into myself feeling about right now, is like that this piece of like I've always been so afraid because I make everything. Like I feel like I don't have a genre. I just like genre for me is the same. just another level of expression. Like if I'm feeling hyped and I want to talk about like, you know, I'm working hard, I'll make a hip hop song. If I'm feeling emotional or homesick, I'll make a folk song. You know, if I'm feeling like energetic or like I want to make a love song, I'll make a pop song. Like to me, it's whatever I'm trying to say, I'll pick the genre that I feel lends itself to that. I don't, and it's not even that conscious of a decision. Usually what happens, like just last night, I made a fucking like digicore hyperpop song because I listened to Jane Remover's new album. I don't know. Yeah, you probably don't know who that is. I listened to Jane Remover's album that came out last year, and I was like, oh my God. And it was like this hyper pop, like masterpiece, like digicore, like Daria core type stuff that I just like have a love. And I was like, I wanted to get back to this because I've been making different, like more R&B stuff lately. And so what really how I make music is I just hear something that inspires me, and I'm like, I want to do that. And I do. Yeah. And so for the longest time, I felt so insecure because I was like, no one's going to care. No one's going to give a shit. No one's going to listen because everything's too different. Like I'm going to put out one year I'll put out like an acoustic folk album, and the next year I'll put out a hyper pop album. And like, I just felt like no one would listen to that. But the problem is, no one was listening anyway because I wasn't putting anything out.
That tends to be, the thing. Like,
man.
When you're definitely like kind of, because people are going to listen if you put it out, even if they don't get a chance to listen, like when you first put it out, keeping it out will kind of like allow people to, digest it a lot better too. When it's just, and it is existing on the market. They're like, this is good stuff, and you never know what part of that person's life or that group of people's life they listen to your stuff. Maybe when you're feeling, because there's certain, like I've been through the same thing where I throw something out on SoundCloud, and I just leave it there, and then I'm like, oh, like this got a couple views or a couple comments, but you like you did, I thought like, what does anyone care? At the end of the day, to me, intrinsically, like I felt like I just did something that I wanted to do. But at the same time, you do have a curiosity of like what kind of weight does it have to certain listeners' ears. And then eventually you'll find out some people like it, some people. There's always going to be that. But I like how unlimited you are.
Oh, thank you.
Because of that, it gives that diversity, opens everyone else's ear who don't normally listen, because if they're like, oh, this song is not my cup of tea, I still like it, it's well put together, arranged and everything, but then you do like, maybe like an R&B, something, but your style, you know, and they're like, well, I dig this, I didn't even know he can do this. Like, people are sometimes impressed by just you being able to like adjust and kind of like create something like not the same, or try to put yourself in the same pocket, or try to brand yourself, and not try to just do what you want, do what you feel like doing, instead of like,
That's beautiful. I never even thought about it that way, man. Thank you for saying that.
No problem.
Thank you for saying that, because it's like that's the thing that I think I need to, that I have realized. This thing that I was afraid of for years, that I thought was my biggest weakness, is really my biggest strength.
Exactly.
That I can make it, because it's like I never thought about that, but it's like you said, it's like, because I'm always afraid of like, oh, if I put out two different, like totally like different types of music, then I'm gonna alienate people. And maybe for some people, but just like you said, maybe you'll open up someone's mind. And that's my whole goal. And I love what you said too about you never know when someone's gonna listen to the songs. And the thing that I have felt so encouraged by now that I have been putting out music, a lot of music, is because it's real. Because I noticed something, because I listen to my own music a lot. One, because I like it. I make it for me.
You gotta make it for you if you don't like it. I think it's good.
And then also the other reason is because I'm always thinking about like dreaming about it. I'm like, it'd be so cool if we had like this video, or like how am I going to put this out? But I notice now that when I put music out, like on Spotify, on SoundCloud, and I like I don't listen to it anymore.
Right.
Which I think is a great thing.
No, I
because you're moving on.
Yeah,
You're not stuck in the past. And I started working with this producer recently named Robert Lotrick, who's like been a godsend, and he was the one who really pushed me to release music in the past couple of months. And like, he was telling me, he said it is like, he talked about this episode of The Simpsons that he saw where Homer has Simpsons, to like walk home with a stone of shame.
Yeah.
And he was like, "That's you with these songs you haven't put out." Because it was like I was so in my head, overly crazy anxious about putting music out because, like, I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to promo it right and like have all these albums that I've like finished, but it's not what I want to work on. And if I'm going to release this music like correctly, or correctly, is there a correct way to release music? And then like I was basically just beating myself up and felt shitty because it was like I was making new stuff that I loved, but I felt like all the new stuff that is so much better and I'm so much prouder and like improving, you know, because you get better, obviously, the more you do it. And I'm always making music.
Absolutely.
I felt like that was buried under this pile of old stuff that had never been anywhere.
Right.
And so that going back a minute to the timeline of like middle of 2025, I was trying out Goldfish and it just wasn't working. I was just really depressed, honestly. I didn't know what I was doing because I wasn't doing a lot of theater stuff either because the big rush of that had kind of calmed down. I was just like looking into other things, but nothing was too serious. And then I met you. I met you. I did some of my friends from the theater world asked me to be a part of a cabaret show that I sang in, which was a lot of fun. And at that cabaret show I met our boy Mark. Mark Green, who I just didn't know him at all before, but he just like said, he was like, you sound great. We just started talking and like he told me about this band he was in and I was like he was like, we're looking for a keyboard player, and I was like, hey, that's me.
Like Sean is tired of playing the keys.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Get somebody who can.
And so he told me to pull up, and that's your band.
First flight.
And this is why I wanted to have you on as the first guest of like rebooting it, is because you like opened my world to music in the city, because it's awesome. Like I've lived here since like end of 2023, beginning like right around the beginning of 2024. And I really felt like I didn't know anyone or doing it. Like I got a bunch of theater connections, but in like the music world, like playing shows and releasing albums and getting records. I don't know anybody. Anybody. And I I think I could have done more to like find people, like go out to more open mics or more shows. But I was just busy trying not to starve.
The starving artist is
do you know what's crazy? Like starving artists, that's not a metaphor all the time. Because like I beginning of 2024, like shortly before I shot the first episode of this podcast, I got sick from malnutrition because I wasn't eating enough because I couldn't afford it.
So that was literal.
It was literal.
That's crazy.
Like I had to call out of work for a week because I was so anxious about spending money on food that I just didn't eat.
That's crazy.
And I got sick because I didn't eat enough.
That's wild.
Yeah. So that's real.
Use that,
and that's kind of why I wanted to make this podcast, is to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Like when you choose to do this as your career, you're signing up for a hard life.
And people gotta understand also that when the metaphor in your case, literal, but metaphor starving artists, it's like you're just still not just working on art. You know what I mean? You're still starving doing other things, trying to make ends meet. So you're trying to multitask and you're trying to, keep a job. And if you lose that job, find another one while you're still, and this is sometimes we lose our way or our passion sometimes to start to disintegrate. Yeah. But, and then you may get it back. You may not. You may find someone to like, to be honest, the same with me. Like, I mean, Alex is saying that he, like I was a part of it, but he's also a part of me wanting to continue along with band members that I have, like, because like there's things in my life that has happened and I'm just like glad to have get back into the gist of things, especially with the band.
Yeah.
Let alone like just like soundtracks and studio stuff, recordings and stuff like that. Like the band stuff is awesome, but
the band's great. Cause it's like that. Like I said, that opened my world up.
Yeah.
Because it was like I was finally doing stuff.
Right.
Because it's like in terms of live music, the only live music I've ever really played before we played together was jazz.
Yeah.
Because I was a jazz pianist pretty seriously for a couple years. And I mean, like, I don't think I'm at a pro level in that genre, especially.
He good. Don't let him twist.
Especially in New York City. Like, it's these jazz jam sessions are like, woof. Like, it's people are good.
Yeah.
But like I played a lot of jazz and I love jazz. But like, I want to make all kinds of music.
Right.
And the jazz community can be so isolated from everything else sometimes. And it's like, I was so excited to play with you guys because I was like, I can play shows doing this R&B stuff.
Right.
Of like, this is the music that I listen to a lot.
Right.
It's like, not to say I don't listen to jazz, but it's like I'm listening to all kinds of stuff, and I want to play all kinds of music. I don't want to be stuck in one lane. And it was like, and I also have never, like, this Friday because of you. I have my first ever show.
You got a show
playing my
this
music.
Friday.
And I've never done that before.
I've
never played because I've been writing it, but it's like this is like the like meeting you was like the genesis of of me being able to like actually open myself up to the world and like share music with people. Yeah. Because that's my dilemma that I've had this whole time is I have gotten really, really good at making this stuff and put my whole self into like improving my craft and my art form. And never sharing it with anybody. Yeah, and it's it's like it's not even that I didn't want to. I just felt like I didn't know how. Yeah, it was so, and because it is really hard. It's people sometimes people act like there's this. I feel like this kind of like vague idea that a lot of people who maybe aren't artists or maybe even people who are have of like, well, sometimes the only reason you're not successful is because if you're really really good, but you're not successful, it's just because you're not trying to show stuff to people. Right. That's not true.
That's not. Yeah, that's not. That's
true
debunked.
At all.
That's debunked.
Because it doesn't fucking matter how good you are.
Right.
In order to get people to give a shit, you have to have like this aura around you. Right. Yeah. Because it's like, and that's so hard to start. And this is a big topic that I really want to explore with this podcast. Is like, I feel like being an artist is this weird kind of like almost like bipolar dilemma of like, on the one side of it, if you're not successful, everyone's like, ew, like, why are you showing me your mixtape? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, stop asking me to come to this. Stop, you're so annoying. Like, leave me alone. Like, why are you singing on the subway? Like, no one cares. This kind of like, people look down on you. Yeah. You're like having to beg for attention. And everyone's like, this guy's And on the other end of that, once you do get some clout and you get some listeners and you get some shows, everybody wants to be your friend. Yeah. And it's like once you actually, and it's this weird, like, it's like, it feels a lot like, you are successful because people like you, but people like you because you are successful. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, where does that, how do you go from no one knows you to that? Right. And I still don't really know the answer to that at all. Yeah. Who does, honestly? Because it's like, that's something I was mentioning to my roommate about this podcast, and like she was telling me about how she got her start in her art form, and we're going to get her on in later episodes. But it's like, I feel like the other reason why I want to like explore these stories is because every single one is wildly different. Yeah, like, that's true. In other careers, like if you're in finance or you want to be a doctor or something, there's a very clear path. Right. About like, you're going to go to college. I mean, you're going to be good grade in high school. You're going to get a good resume. You're going to go to college. You can go to grad school. You're going to go to med school. You're going to, it's a straight line. Right. But being an artist is there's no handbook.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no map, there's no blueprint. Everyone has their own stories very vividly too. Yeah. It's not like.
And honestly, I think the biggest factor, and this, I mean, some people might disagree with this on me. I'm not saying that this is the only factor.
Yeah.
But I do think it makes the biggest difference is luck.
Mm.
I think. It's luck.
definitely plays a part. I mean.
It's like if the right person finds you, if the right person who knows the right person finds you, or even you and me.
Right.
Like the reason I met you and you introduced and opened the door was because I was lucky.
Right.
Because Mark came to the show.
Absolutely.
I just happened to talk to him and he just happened to mention that he needed a keyboard player. Like what if I was like talking to Mark and then one of my friends came over and said, "Hey, you want a drink?" And I'm like, I stopped talking to him.
Right.
And we didn't get to the part where he asked me to play in his band yet. I would have never met you and I would have never done, it's, or like my workshop for night the biggest like professional opportunity I've had was because I met someone at bartending school.
Yeah.
Because I got a bartending certification because I was broke.
Right.
And needed a job. And I was trying to be a bartender.
Yeah.
And I met someone there who was an alumni of the school.
Yeah.
Who I made friends with her because we were talking about anime. And then I mentioned theater stuff, and then she gave me this person's email, who was the person who picked my show.
You never know.
Like,
yeah.
And that's so frustrating.
Right.
Because it's like sometimes it feels like it doesn't matter how hard you work.
Right.
It's just whether the wind blows your way or not.
If it blows your way, it's like keep. It's almost like you got to keep the mindset of wanting to do what you have the passion for and the desires, and it feels like it's gonna help you move. But you can't expect every situation to lead you towards that path. But it does, like, there's coincidence. They happen. You're like, it's not like I was like searching for Alex. I woke up and I dreamed. I was like, I gotta find this guy Alex. He can play the keys. He's freaking talented. He can play every instrument and he can record by his songs.
Calling to me.
I'm just like, so you bump into people, which is interesting. Like, like I didn't even know my homie Mark was going to this show until last minute. And then for him to be like, this dude Alex is amazing. Like, he's so talented. Just if you want me to tell him to come by the rehearsal. And I was like, yeah, of course, man. Like, and then it was like, okay, cool. But, no one's really searching for an individual person. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like.
And I feel like, sorry, you finished your
you keep going.
I feel like adding on to that, I feel like if you are searching, you kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
That's what I was going to say, too. Yeah.
Because if you're like, like in a professional relationship, if you're trying to build connections, if you like try and force it, you scare people away.
Right.
Because if and it's like, I have an actor friend who told me that he was in LA and he felt like everyone who talked to him in LA was like had a second motivation. Like they were trying to figure out what they could do for him.
Superficial, yeah.
And it's and even if you're not coming from that place, like I've been so paranoid talking to people, being afraid that they'll assume that of like, because if I really want to work with someone, I genuinely really want to work with them. It's
absolutely.
But honestly, sometimes it is because I'm like, maybe this will do something good for me.
Right. There's not at all.
It's just like
some type of benefit.
You don't want to use people,
right?
But at the same time, it's like how are you supposed to get anywhere?
Exactly.
If you don't. I wouldn't say use people, but like.
But it's networking. I mean, you still want to network with people and have, and be able to, benefit from each other. When one person is just benefiting and they kind of just like me type of thing, that's when it gets a little awkward, and that's when you distance yourself from people. But when you guys are working together, like, you know what I mean? I got this gig, you want to come, and be on the bill, or vice versa. It gets more like, all right. You
lift each other up.
Yeah, that's basically.
I had this experience when I was younger. I was like 16, 17, and I found this artist on YouTube randomly who was still like pretty small, but I was obsessed with his music. Like it was like some of my favorite stuff I've ever heard. But he was small enough that I just like DM'd him on Instagram and like asked if he would talk to me. And I think it was like for a school project or something. I think I had to like make a presentation for one of my music classes, and I interviewed him as my project, and we kept in touch for a little while, and like I've been talking to him in years now, but I remember I had one talk with him where I was like thinking about visiting LA, and he lived in LA, and I was telling him like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, and can you like introduce me to all these people, and like I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna. And he was kind of like, okay, dude. Right. And I thought about it after, and the next time I talked with him, I apologized because I was like, damn, bro, I'm sorry. I realized that I was like using you. Like I wanted you to put me. I wanted you to do all this stuff for me. And he told me something that I still remember, which is like, don't try and use someone to pull you to the next rung. Right. Lift everyone on, like everybody on your same level, lift up together.
It's like a ladder. Together. Get on the carpet.
So you shouldn't try and like use someone to pull you up to the next level. You need to work there and bring people with you.
Yeah. You know, and if there's, and some people get shy, then that's, you know, it's kind of like meet people where they're at, you know, and then, you know, if it seems like they distance themselves, and let, you know, so be it, you know. But definitely not missing, you know, the mark. Like it's like a balance of that too. Like being a, you know, you want to be a horse in the horse race, blinds and everything, but you also, when you do encounter those opportunities with people, definitely lifting them up, trying to lift up together as much as possible. So
yeah, for sure. And so well, me and Sean started playing together, and that was like, so I feel like my 2025 was split into thirds. The first third was all theater.
Fraction, guys.
Yeah. Mathematics.
Mathematics. Let's go.
The first 4 months was theater. The second 4 months was just like lost and confused. And trying stuff. And again, feeling like it wasn't working. And then the last 4 months was finding a community in music.
And
that was you, and that was because I worked with you, and then Philippa invited me to it. I met Philippa through the band, and she invited me to this recording session where I met Robert, and Robert totally changed my life, and he like has been like my biggest supporter, and like really got me to rethink who I am as an artist, and start over, really. And that leads me to kind of like, you know, the last couple of months I was just playing a fuck ton of shows. We were playing a bunch of shows. November, I think I played like 8 shows in that month.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and I was just way too exhausted. And then, and I forgot, I mentioned I wrote a second musical in October. I did a Halloween musical because I had this little cute ghost idea. That was Ness. Ness was there. Ness filmed that. It's on this YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. Subscribe. Yeah, hit that like button.
Hit that like button.
Like that. In the chat. But yeah, I had this idea for a ghost musical, and I was like, oh shit, Halloween's in a month, and then I managed to scrape the thing together, and it's like really rough, and it's only an hour. It's like a first draft for sure, but I did that, and that was huge. Amazing. And because I love theater, and I want to do more stuff in theater, but theater is interesting because it's like there's like, I think more than a lot of disciplines, theater is really hard to do anything unless you have some organization backing you. Because it's like you can't put on a musical if you don't have a theater to do it.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah, it's tough. But I'm trying to do something that I did with Dead End Job. That was the Halloween musical. That I also want to do more of in this coming years. Just do my own thing. Yeah, that's what Dead End Job was. It was like literally I just asked my actor friends like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Yeah, and it was like super unprofessional. And the next time I'm gonna do it much more polished, and like everything was last minute. But I just rented a rehearsal space and like invited everybody I knew, and we got like 15, 20 people to show up and see the show, and it was great. Cool. That's so cool. And so I'm gonna do more of that this year. I got the next musical cooking already. I started working on it. Let's go. Yeah. I gotta check that out. And then and so that was, and then like and then we get to December, and December I was like I had this like, there was this day I was off my meds for a couple of weeks, which was bad. But so I was feeling really, really out of it for a couple of weeks, but I had like a waken, like a woke up moment. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but I was just at work, and I like had like almost like a panic attack or something, because it just hit me. It was like, why don't I have music out? Because I was putting out a couple songs. Like I put out like here and there 5, 6 that year, because I decided I wanted to have Goldfish 24 and Alexander Waters. So I was putting out some pop music as Alexander Waters, but I realized like I was still trying to force myself in a box.
Right.
Because I was trying to make Alexander Waters like a brand of like, this is this specific sound,
exactly,
and then Goldfish is this specific sound, and like split it up that way. And it just felt weird. And then I was like, well, let me just be me. Let me just be me.
Right.
And I had 5 albums that were like finished that I was working my way to put out, and I was thinking like, okay, I'll put out like a song every week for a while, and just to get through them all. And then like and then I had like a spreadsheet of like, okay, I'm gonna try and promo this and like put it out. But even with organizing like that, it wasn't until like, according to my calendar that I made, I wouldn't have all this music out, old music, until like 2/3 the way through 2026.
Right.
If I went with that schedule, and I didn't know what to do. And then I talked to my boy Robert, and he was like, fuck you, put out the damn music. And he really pushed me, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so I put out 56 songs on January 1st.
Amazing. That's wild.
I put out 56 songs.
56 songs.
5 albums.
That's amazing.
5 albums of music, and it's all old too. It's
yeah.
Like some of it's newer, some of it's I made in the past couple years in New York. Some of it I made when I was 16. One of them is literally just called Songs I Made in High School. Because it's songs I made in high school.
Short name.
Yeah. Because I didn't know what else to call it. Because I was like, there's no like idea. This is just.
Hey,
this was just like the training grounds.
No one got that title, so you're good.
That was it. So there's 5 albums, songs I made in high school, of course. Nice. The Radio, which is like pop music I've made in New York.
Yeah.
That's kind of has some loose themes about like my career and creativity. I had The Ocean, which was I got my heart broke so bad I wrote an album about it. I wrote like 12 songs about that.
Right.
And that was just a whole album. And then Tales from the Rift, which is like fantasy inspired, like folk music. Because I love D&D. I love media. It's just one of them is like based off my favorite TV show.
Right.
And then Rainbow Ranch, which is 23 voice memos of acoustic folk songs that I never got around to recording properly. And at first I was like, do I really want to, like, because I was like, this is so many songs, I have to record all these. And some of them I have even tried. Like, the first song on that album is called Buttercup. And I wrote that song, like, when I was 16. And I've tried recording it, like, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And I can never figure out. I love just how it sounds with me in the guitar. And so that's, like, a bunch of songs where I was like, some of them are like, yeah, I could have recorded this. I just didn't get around to it. But others are like, I don't think I should record this.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it speaks to what it genuinely is just from being a voice memo.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the music. And then,
Yeah.
Now we're caught up. That's where I've been.
Right. That's
been a year and a half. Yeah.
So would you say like most of the albums that you made, a lot of them or majority of them come from different, like you pull from different places, whether it's like a relationship or the environment that you're in, or like would you say it's a lot of that, or is it specifically more so like relationships and
I think
like
just
internally or
I just process musically.
Okay.
Like when I write songs, like I don't know, it's just like talking for me. It's just like, I mean, I've done it so much and it's so intrinsic to who I am. Like writing songs is just how I think about the world. And so like that's why I feel like I have such a diverse range of sounds.
Yeah.
Is because like they're just different palettes. Like this is what like The Ocean, that album is like, I think its own sort of sonic place. Like I think that has I think The Ocean's probably the most like concise like album that has like a central kind of sound, because like that's what my life sounded like. That was like, that's how, because it was like, you know, I got my heart broken in the summertime, and like there was a bunch of themes going on, and there's a bunch of music I was listening to while that relationship was happening, and just other things that I was thinking about, and it just all kind of came together as this one cohesive thing. And then Like sometimes I'll have like different sounds for different things I want to express. Like Tales from the Rift is an album that is about a very like specific like storytelling I want to do of like creating lyrics that are much more like the Oh Hellos. Yeah, like Soldier Poet King, that kind of thing. Is like that kind of like whimsical, kind of like magical like stories, because I love those stories. I love those stories. Nice. So I want to write music that speaks to those stories in kind of a modern way, and so that's sort of what that was. Or sometimes I'll just like 2 songs off that album are like for fun. My friends asked me if I could write a song around their D&D character.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
2 of the songs are the Tales from the Rift is 6 songs. 2 of the songs are D&D characters.
Okay.
One of the songs is a song I wrote for this comic idea I have.
Right.
That's about like angels and ghosts and shit.
Yeah.
That's like that. I was writing a song that would be like the season finale or whatever. That one's called Messiah. And then two of them are more like just fantasy inspired songs that I was writing to kind of tell a story. And then one of them I wrote. I love Arcane.
Of course. That's like my favorite.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. After season 2 came out, I was just so like juiced up on creative energy. I wrote a song about the show.
That's fire.
And so that's what that album is.
Yeah.
It's like all kind of related that way.
Right.
And so it's just like I'll write a song about anything.
Right.
Anything.
Right.
Anything I'm feeling, anything I want to say. And I think like I feel like again in the kind of place the music industry is right now, I just feel really out of place because I make albums.
Yeah.
I make albums. I'm not a singles guy.
Right.
I like because I go through eras. Like
yeah.
The next 2 projects that I'm working on putting out, one is called Places.
Okay.
Which is actually older than some of the stuff I put out on the first, but it's some of my best work. And it's also a very concise group of songs. It's 5 songs that are all named after different places that I made them all in like the same 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it was just like, I don't know, something happened that I was like, this is what I want to talk about right now.
Yeah.
And it was and the reason that I've been saving that one instead of putting it out was because I really, really, really want to do that one like very professionally.
Yeah.
Because that was like, that project is what kind of started like me realizing I feel like, or discovering what my sound really was.
Right.
And experiment and trying out new things and kind of reinvented my creativity. And then the album that's after that, so the Places is forest, swimming pool, motel, aquarium, and greenhouse.
Yeah.
The last song is Greenhouse.
Okay.
And Greenhouse is a song that's about, like the chorus goes, grow with me, feel my energy. I can't remember exactly, but it's you're a part of me from my roots to my leaves.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's about basically growing my career.
Yeah, that's
growing
amazing.
a fan base. And like talking to the fans.
Double entendres.
And saying like, grow with me. Like let's grow together.
Yeah.
And then I have an album that is all like pretty much finished. I just need to polish it. That comes right after Places. That's kind of an extension of that sound called Plants and Rocks.
Right.
Which every song is named after a plant or a rock.
Wow.
So it's still like, I think there's like marble, there's salt, there's aloe, there's daffodils.
Wow.
Every song is named after a plant or a rock. And that is kind of an extension of the Places EP because it's like, welcome to my greenhouse. Here's what we have in the greenhouse. So.
Yo, that's just fire in itself.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, there's not a lot of artists like when I hear this. I mean, even for me, I'm glad. I'm so happy that you did something like this because hearing the process and an artist have so much, like people are like, you're creative, and creative is like, creative can be anything. You can like, scrabble like, with crayons nowadays or whatever. But to have something so well thought out and just have these themes for every album, and then have it also communicate with the lyrics and everything is always something like very like just authentic.
I'm thank you, dude, so much for saying that.
It's like, people don't put as much, and people don't put as much into like doing the album in itself. It's like something that people don't normally do, and to be able to whip it out and also have like so much like structure and thought behind it, and able to translate that, you know, with the theme of the title being what it is, and the songs, and then it's just like going from the outside, the membrane, the you know, the outskirts of everything, and then going into the nucleus. But there's details. There's like, you know how you one of those boxes where it's big boxes and you open it and there's a like little box. It's like
Russian dolls.
Yeah, it's like layers. It's little box. It's like, like we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to the last box. It's a small box. You know, big box, medium box. Man. Like it's more to it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we're lacking nowadays. I mean, because it's so simple with what we have, the social media, like you being able to post fast, all this other stuff. But I feel like, you know, like I miss that about, you know, the artistry of the process and the thought and the, you know, the translation from one, you know, the title to, and keeping that consistent, you know, into the lyrics as
and it's also like a consistent sound, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Because it's I mean, you haven't heard it.
Absolutely.
You can trust me.
I can hear it already. I can hear it in myself.
But it is because I tried to do this thing with it where it's a very kind of electronic but also an acoustic album. Okay. And every song that's a plant is more acoustic, and every song that's a rock is more electronic. Okay. Yeah, and so it's sense. Like it's sort of also doing this like duality thing of my different sounds, right. And then kind of also, I don't know, it's just it's kind of showing like this. It's just basically a portfolio of like, this is what I can do. Yeah, I can do all these things, and so that's the goal. And so the reason, you know, that Places and that album, even though they're also pretty much done, I didn't put them out with the other 56 was because this is what I want to be like my debut. Right. Like the 56 songs, you know, I collectively just called them a fresh start because that's what it is. Fresh. That is all like, this is like the tutorial level.
Got it.
And then the new projects that I'm going to put out this year, Places, and, you know, if I get to Plants and Rocks, I don't know if it'll be this year or next year, but whenever that comes out, it's like, this is the music that I'm actually going to invest. Like, okay, let me do like a PR campaign, and let me like play shows, and let me, you know, do fucking TikTok or whatever to make this happen for myself, and really do all, because with the other 56 is like, I just put them out, just drop them, made a post on Instagram, called it good. Yeah. And with this other stuff, this is what I'm trying to be like a real like artist, right? Like that has a collective like vision and like brand and statement and you know, world that I'm building, you know,
a full package type of thing.
And so that's the goal for this year. And then playing live. Holy shit, I gotta play live more.
Yeah, for real.
Play live.
Cause that,
and this Friday is a great first step.
Yeah, that is.
Looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to just showing you what I'm gonna play on Friday.
Yeah, I'm excited to see.
Yeah, thanks,
to
man.
Hear, to listen. Yeah, because I haven't heard
some
like live.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's excitement and interest in just seeing you, because hearing, you know, the diversity and what you're capable of, seeing your process, seeing how you're able to, you know, dive in, dive out, stick to genre. Like, one of the things that I wanted to say is the discipline you also have, because I had no idea. I thought just because you did the jazz thing, it's rare that I see someone who's able, like, who can do jazz but then can venture off into other genres and play that really well. Yeah. And to me, I was like, oh, this guy is different. You know, this guy's not just that discipline in itself. It's like, I know, like, I can tell when someone's so good at something and they're just like locked in, and they've always been locked in. And most of it is when they either talk a lot because they're very comfortable with that one person, and they're not like one of those public speakers where they like talk to everybody, but they just focus on what they need to do. But I kind of got that indication of like, this dude, he does jazz, he's disciplined so much to where it doesn't even sound like he plays jazz when he plays my music. Like when I'm like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? There's some songs where it'll filter over because, you know, it has that poppiness in the music because I also have like genre, you know, different genres, but I sing it in my style. Same as Alex singing in it, his style. But it's definitely that, like, you know, that locked in, bro, I do this, like, you know what I mean? And it's good when you see that and you hear it and you're like,
thank you, man.
Yeah, I know this is real right here. This isn't someone just like, you know, I'm just, you know, just dabbling, you know, dabble here, dabble there. Yeah. Like, I get into the studio with Alex to record a song, and it's like, bro, he's getting onto every instrument to record that needs whatever it needs for the melody, and that's amazing to hear and to just watch, man. I'm just like, you know, sometimes I can't even, I'm trying to do the lyrics and write down these lyrics. Sometimes I'm not able to, like, think of the lyrics. Sometimes I like to go into the studio just like letting the lyrics come to me during the recording. Sometimes I already have the lyrics played out, but there's that one time where I'm just like listening to Alex on the guitar or on the keys just do something, and I'm just like, wow, I'm just like losing my train of thought, so my discipline is getting shot. But at the end of the day, we find it back together. We
made that dope song like a couple months ago. That was great. We got more stuff. We have to
we do got more stuff, you know, coming out there. But yeah, man, it's always been a pleasure. It's always been a pleasure, and it's been
same to you. It's and I think that's a great segue of like, let's move on to you, man.
Right.
You know, I have some questions.
You have some questions.
I wrote down some questions for you. Well, I just said, like,
I'm not the
first of all, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
What's going on, Sean?
2026. I'm just glad to be here.
Where do you feel like you're in your life creatively, like right now?
Creatively, I'm in a place. I feel like I'm in a place. I feel like I'm in the best place for me to be when it comes to expressing myself, no matter, you know, the consequences of what people might think, what people might say. And just loving or liking what I do just for what it is. Yeah. And then the process. I feel like you were saying back in the day when you're starting to find yourself and you're creating, you try to, you know, you always try to create because you grow up to try to, you influence and someone inspires you. So you feel that you have to be inspired by that person because that inspiration that you have of that person, that someone, you kind of like try to create, you know, an avatar for yourself. And I feel like, you know, that's where I was sometimes, but I think in the process of all that, you know, you can't really, like we were saying about like having the map is always not necessarily like the direction, but it's also like who you become in that direction as well. Like what direction do you go and how do you form yourself? Kind of like putting but I feel like we don't know that until I related to like clay, you know, making a sculpture. If you don't just throw a bunch of clay at the armature, whatever you have the sculpture on, just throw a bunch of clay, you don't have nothing to work with.
That's great. Yeah,
so I feel like being able to like throw a lot at who I am and do whatever I need to do. I used to ask my mom, you know, I'm good at a lot and I don't know what to focus on because my thing would be like, you know, maybe I need to be like this person because that's where I feel like I sound a little bit like, or someone would tell me I sound like, you know, Michael Jackson, a little bit of Michael Jackson, a little more. There's always someone would always say I sound like someone else, which is good. But at the same time, I'm glad someone's always telling me something different. But at the same time, I'm still just trying to figure out like the brand, like what, you know, with Sean Flight, what does that entail, and trying to discover. But I'm just like, my mom always told me, do everything. Do whatever you feel like you need to do, because if you don't put as much clay, you won't be able to mold enough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And you don't know how big you can become. And to me, it's like I understood that, but I started to understand more that there's, you know, now in my life, I feel like the intrinsic value of just doing it because I love it is I put that more on top than to try to rush.
Fucking straight.
Then right. Just trying to rush, trying to meet a deadline when it's honestly like it's you know, you don't know, you know what I mean? But you know that you need to love something to feel alive, right? You know, you need to love something, be passionate. That's the one thing I can hold on to, and I feel like we as human beings can, you know, we stay awake. You know what I mean? We we wake up dreaming about something and be like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this way. But it keeps you going, or you don't sleep because you're thinking about it all the time because you love it.
Yeah,
right?
I've had a lot of sleepless nights.
You know what I mean?
No, genuinely. And like that's the bipolar talking a little bit. I do have a sleep disorder. So that but there's a lot of nights like I remember literally recently like I had another wake up moment where I was like I remember when I was in high school, I literally some nights I couldn't sleep because I was so excited about just all these ideas I had and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to accomplish. And I was like it hit me. I was like, man, now when I go to sleep, I'm just like sad.
Let
me get back to let me be excited about something.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like
and I love what you said about do everything.
Right.
Because like when I was in high school, I went to a very like academic like STEM high school, and they were always telling me like you gotta specialize, you gotta like pick something. I told them music all the time. My advisor in high school kept trying me to do math. She was like, you should take AP calculus. I was like, no. No.
Tell me what life.
But I always told, and whenever someone asked me when I was in high school what I was doing, I was like, well, I'm just gonna get as good as many different things as I can.
Right.
And then when I graduate and like I'm an adult, like then I'll kind of pick one and stick with it.
Right.
And I found now that I'm 21, I still got a lot of time, but now that I've been an adult, I'm like, no.
Right.
I'm gonna keep getting good at everything.
Right, exactly. Why stop there? Why limit yourself? Because
don't limit yourself.
You know what you continue to do, someone can easily discontinue to do, and it gives you that step higher over what you need to do, and what you and then you look at. You look back and you're like, bro, I did a lot really well. Like, and sometimes that's valuable in itself. Like being able to do things and saying that I did that. You know what I mean? Doesn't have to be. Yeah,
because then you have something to show people.
Exactly.
And that's why I was so happy to put out that music because it made it real. It was like, because it's been years that I've been telling people, make music. They're like, oh, show me. Where is it? And I'm like, I can like email you a Google Drive.
I remember you said that. I was like,
fuck, man. And so now it's like you did. I did that.
Right.
It doesn't even matter if it's like good. It's just like I did it.
You created something.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people. Like I have a student, right? I teach music, and I have a student who's like 24, and he really wants to be a composer.
Yeah.
He loves like video game music and like J-pop and stuff, and he wants to make like songs for video games. Yeah. And he's been doing a lot of transcriptions, which is really great, and his ear is super good. So he's like transcribing these like sophisticated like harmonic things. But he hasn't written any of his own songs yet. And so in the new year, I was like talking about like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And he said, I really want to make my own thing. And I was like, okay, like let's start. And he was like, well, but let me like do more transcriptions first. And I looked him down in the eye. I said, no. If you want to write songs, you gotta write songs. Because it's like. And this is just how it is you just have to dive in and do it and be bad at it for a while. Because it's like in his case, like he thought if he did enough transcriptions, he would know enough about music to write his own. Okay. But it's like, think about that for a second. Yeah. If all you've ever done is copy down someone else's work, how are you supposed to be original? Because being original and being creative is a different skill that you then knowing how to use the technical stuff. And if you never practice being creative, then you'll never be good at it. Because just creating the thing and making something new is a skill, and that's kind of another thing is like you don't even have to like. There's a million great artists out there who don't know shit about music. but they know about creativity. Like my mom loves to tell me this thing all the time, and she says it like, cause she's a folk music. She loves folk music, and she tells me, son, all you need is 3 chords and the truth.
Amen.
Amen.
Tell her how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if she came up with that or if she quotes someone else, but she says that to me all the fucking time.
Yeah, that's so cool though.
Yeah, I love her, man. Yeah. But so I want to talk to you about the band, because I came on a couple months ago, but I want to know like the history. Like,
the history,
because I know you were a solo.
So I was a solo recording. Ago. Yeah, I was a solo recording artist. I opened up for Jeremiah. I opened up for Fabulous. Back when he was popping, and then there was just like situations where could have been really bad ones as far as like the industry is concerned, where I was like, nah, I this doesn't look good. I'm a very I'm willing to say no to something if I feel like it's gonna take me down a dark rabbit hole really fast, and I kind of I rather just do me type of thing. I rather just find another way. A way that's going to actually lift me up and have me do the music that I want to do, and not, capsule size, like put me in a capsule and just like, you're doing this is how you're going to do it. Shelf me. I'll put my stuff up, because like we were just talking about, we also do want to practice this creativity. Like we got to practice to be able to do being creative doesn't mean like you just come out the womb being creative and you're able to maintain that, right?
Yeah,
you gotta always,
it's a skill, just like everything else.
Skill that you always have to practice, because you encounter different situations where you're like, oh, I can add this note, this melody here, this lyric here. Yeah. But it's always been something that I always like, because I'm also a painter. When I used to paint a lot.
Oh shit! I know that.
Yeah, I was actually like.
Fuck.
So
we talk about that too.
I was like a oil painter.
Oh my god.
Acrylics.
Look at this guy.
Surrealism.
What the hell?
Yeah. But
this is why I want to do this. I had no fucking clue you did that.
Yeah, I used to I went to school. I went to art design.
Sean Lord. You went to art and design.
I went to art design. I was in film media, and then I kind of switched, and we did like art. So I was like painting.
You're so
canvas,
cool, dude.
Figurative, drawings and all that stuff. But I mean, I was inspired by I used to be hooked on comics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too,
we've
like
talked
anime.
about that.
We talked about
because I want to make comics too.
So and they helped me draw figures well. And people used to say, you're creative, you're talented, but talent is part of creativity, right? So, but you have to practice. And I feel like things that I was able to, copy off of helped me practice on the stuff that I wanted to work on. And I feel like I can relate that to music as well.
You know what it's I mean? Like whenever you make something, like everyone... I feel like whenever you make something, you are pulling from everything you've ever experienced.
Right.
And it's like, that's why everyone is unique, and no one will I remember I saw this jazz pianist called Cyrus Chestnut. He's one of the greatest jazz pianists alive right now. Yeah. And I got this experience where last year, I met this guy at a coffee shop, the one right across the street.
Yeah?
And he had a double bass with him.
Oh,
what?
And
I was like, yo, you play jazz? And he was like, yeah. And we got to talking about jazz and stuff. And he told me Cyrus Chestnut is playing at this club tonight.
Oh, really?
And you should go check him out. And so I did. I pulled up, and it was like, because Cyrus Chestnut is like a big deal.
Yeah.
It was like I wasn't even sure if there'd be tickets, but I just came to the door. There's one ticket left.
What?
And it was this chair right behind the piano.
What?
So I was here and Cyrus Chestnut was there.
What?
And I got to watch his hands like
that
this.
That is wild.
And I cried.
That I would too.
Tears
on the piano.
He does things on the piano that bend reality.
That's crazy.
It doesn't even make any sense.
That's crazy.
But the biggest thing that struck me about him was he was just like a dude.
Okay. He's just like normal.
Because I grew up, it's funny because I grew up in a place where no one really knew what good musicianship actually looked like.
Yeah, okay.
And that's not entirely true.
Okay.
But like obviously there was some credible players in New Mexico. Don't get me wrong. There's some crazy cats in New Mexico. But what I'm saying is the environment I grew up in my like band program was like my main teacher. He had kind of like given up on being good and decided he just wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
And he always kind of had a thorn in his side about it. Like he never quite. He was like, and it was he idolized these people, and he kind of instilled that in all of us. And I still feel like the jazz community as a whole does that, where we like deify these musicians. And I remember my teacher said that, and he apologized for it later, but he still said it. Where and when I was a sophomore in high school, I auditioned for Jazz All-State, and I got fourth. I was first alternate because there's 3 bands, piano player for each band. I was first alternate, so I was the 4th best piano player in my state.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Which is good, but I was brokenhearted because I was like one hair away from actually getting to go. And some of my friends made it because they were horn players. And I don't know if you know the setup for a big band in jazz, but it's a rhythm section with some piano, bass, drums, one of each, and then you have 15 horn players in each band.
Damn,
big horn section. And so obviously there's a lot more spots for horn players. And so my friends got to go, but I didn't because they were like, top 5 and they could go. Like, because if you're in the top 45 horn players, you get to go, but you have to be top 3 to go as a piano. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I just was torn up because I was like, I didn't get to go. And I was like crying in a practice room, and my band teacher showed up and he said, some people are just better than others. And I don't think he meant to say that, or like he was trying to say it, but those were the words that left his mouth. And he said like some people are just better at playing than others. And I was like, and then that broke my heart. And so it like instilled in me this mindset that he had of like, there are just like some jazz players are just like untouchable. You'll never be able to reach them, and you have to like. And there's also this attitude in jazz. Like, this is why I'm telling you, like, you. I know you gassed me up a bit, but like, I still can't go to a jazz jam session without feeling embarrassed.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like, this is what I'm telling you, bro. As you see me play, I'm telling you. I mean, like, I'm like okay. In the jazz world, I'm okay. My problem is I don't have
4th in the state is crazy.
Well, yeah, that was in high school, but like
in high school, 4th in the state.
But it's different now, and like, it was also
a lot of kids in high school.
But like in jazz, there's kind of this attitude or expectation that you need to have everything memorized. Like because the situation is, you go to a jam session, and like people just like throw out songs until they find one that everybody knows already. There's no like, because I was using charts all the time, and so I just don't have a lot of songs memorized. And in the jazz world, that's just like, I can't cut it. And I just am too busy on other stuff that I don't want to focus on memorizing all these jazz songs. But what I'm saying is, when I saw Cyrus Chestnut, he was just like a dude. He had these fucking beat ass New Balances on. He was wearing like this
beat up when they.
He was like wearing this really nice sports coat on top of a stained T-shirt. Because the audience saw the nice sports coat. He like rolled out of bed and put the coat on and went to the gig. And he was like using charts. He was like messing stuff up. He was like, but he was so fucking good. He was a master. But he was so relaxed. He was having fun. And so I think the reason I brought him up, and we got off this jazz on this jazz tangent, was because I talked to him after, because he was right there.
He was right
and I just watched, and I was like, sniffling. I was like, I saw you playing. It changed my life. And he stopped me before. I was like, I'm a piano player, and seeing you. And he stopped me because it was like, he's the kind of guy that I'm sure he's been asked this question 2 million times. If I'm a piano player, or like, what can you tell me? And he stopped me and he said, no one can teach you how to play you. All this study, all this, technique, all this, it's important. It's important. It gives you the tools, but no one can teach you how to be you. So play you. That was his piece of advice.
That's amazing advice. And that's what we gotta stick. That's what you want to stick with. There's only you. You can only find you. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people are going to be able to. They can tell you what you should be doing, but you have to be behind and be confident on the journey to take and which roads to take through that process. Yeah. But it feels better when you learn more, you making those mistakes as well. And
yeah, because mistakes are so important.
Mistakes are so,
and that's another reason, like, that's what this podcast is about. Right. It's about mistakes.
It's about mistakes.
It's because, like, everyone's so afraid of failure.
Absolutely.
And I'm so sick of that shit.
Absolutely.
And, like, you have to be lame for so long to be good.
Absolutely.
And I want to make a podcast that's really put... Absolutely. Because everyone wants to hide the lame part. Right. Like, I remember, I love Amine. You know Amine?
Yeah.
He has this interview where he says, like, man, everybody deletes their first mixtape.
Everybody,
he's like, everybody puts up their first mixtape. And then they get popping a little bit, and then they go back and delete it because they don't want anyone to know how bad they were.
What it sound like,
But I'm like, I wanna magnify that.
Yeah,
I don't want to hide.
Right.
Because you shouldn't be ashamed of starting.
Absolutely,
you shouldn't.
Absolutely
and it's like
not.
everyone's trying to hide, like, because I hate this thing in the music industry where it's like, their debut album went #1. That shit ain't their debut.
Right.
That's the first thing that anyone gave a shit about, or that they had a record deal with.
Yeah.
But no one writes their first song and it becomes a hit. That doesn't happen.
It's going back to actually what we were talking about, what you said. You mentioned that, like, this is why people kind of, like, they kind of only give you that. They give you that praise when you're already, like, out there. You know what I mean? When you made it big instead of, growth. People they love your growth when you're there. They want to see a lot of, they're like, oh, what was he doing before? But they show you that, like, praise, when that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Not through the journey itself, and not, before, way before that.
This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, fucking working at McDonald's.
Right. Like a T-Pain. Like T-Pain working.
Doing what
a lot of these celebrities also, people forget a lot of these, celebrities who are now, like, you know what I mean? They're on tour. They're not as popping as before, but they had jobs where, and they told these stories. And I feel like now we're going, it's been more like debut, like you said. This is the hit right now. They run with it, but what is their story? And I feel like, honestly, there isn't much. You know what I mean? There isn't much with some artists about their journeys because of that. Because of they're just, it's just that one song. Maybe they, created it themselves. Maybe they had help, whatever the case may be. But either way, it's like, the journeys, I feel like the journeys of the process is so important. And I feel like that's with anything, like sports, an athlete who's gone through their trials and tribulations. They've gone through, like, whatever medical, like, maybe injured, and they still got back in the, back in the gym, to try to conquer, themselves and what's outside of themselves.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, that's something that I like. I also, like, take pride in being able to, like, work on the things in front of me, but definitely, like, don't think so much about what, trying to just skip corners. You know what I mean? I just don't believe in skipping corners. I feel like everything you go through, you take it and you try to use it as your best advantage, or a best tool, a best weapon, for you to, like, pursue your goals, and the music, and whatever you want to do besides just the music, if you do anything else. But definitely, like,
Let's go back to the band, man. How did you go from solo to the band? Like, tell me specifically, like, what happened? Like, what made that change for you?
So going into the deep, gritty, witty, city, fitty life. I mean, bars. Here we go.
Bars.
So I did recording. About 7 years ago. Like, I was like 8 years ago. I was doing, like, more recording studio. Had dancers, choreography. Mark, the one we were talking about, who got introduced Alex to me. He would do the choreography and stuff, and we would get dancers and do these dances. What happened was my father passed away, and at first, tumor, Alzheimer's, all the stuff. And then after that, a year later, 2 years after that, my mom passed away from cancer. I stopped music for like an hour. Like I stopped music for like, I want to say a year, 2 years almost. Just doing it the way I used to do it. So I ended up just kind of being, not convincing myself. Like I felt like I was stressed. Like I was stressed, depressed, all the woodworks. But at the same time, I didn't want to say I was, because I felt like I would lose that battle of, moving forward with still wanting to do music. So I told myself, like, I'm gonna still try, but it didn't come out right. And I feel like because it didn't come out right, it affected me. So I kind of stopped, like, I kind of pushed away from like putting out stuff. So then that happened, and then once I felt like whole, I don't know what happened. I think I like started to work out. That's what happened. Like I started to work out. Yeah. I started to work out in the gym. Like I went through like, the whole in the cave trying to figure out my life, and, but I ended up saying, I went to the gym one time. I couldn't do much because I was at it. Like I wasn't, like I just felt so weak. Yeah. And I felt like one of the things that, like, I was an athlete. So like, that's one of the things that also like kept me like, mentally, spiritually, like in a good place to want to better myself. But, things in life can have you fall off. But that's one of the things where I was like, I went to the gym, I felt kind of weak. And then I was lifted, and I was like, nah, I can't be weak physically, because I know that if I'm not weak physically, that'll help me mentally. And I know like being mentally prepared, for me, it's like the opposite. Like if I feel like I'm weak physically, then I'm like, yo, bro, it's because mentally, like I'm weak. So I gotta really get to myself in order for me to be mentally in shape. I have to be physically in shape, and vice versa. Like, so I said, like I don't have to look like, like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger or one of the top, I just needed to be strong. Like I felt like I needed to feel like pressure. I needed to listen to music that's inspirational. I think it was just like the process of getting stronger is what helped me. Like I didn't feel like I had to be, like I said, like Diesel or something, but I feel like that mental state, that fortitude really helped me just like understand that I could go back to doing something that I used to do and find that love for it and that passion for it.
That's beautiful.
And I feel like I translated that into the music. And then I was like, yo, like, I think Steven, he's the drummer, and I've known him forever, and he played the drums, but we really never got to, like, we played together back in the day in the past, but we didn't really play, like, I can never say we played, like, with a full band. I feel like we always played, there were dancers. It wasn't like we had like something real where we created from scratch from the band. Most of the stuff back then was more from recordings that we like try to recreate live, but definitely got to a point where, through Steven, we found Phil. Phil worked at he's the guitarist. He works at the gym that I used to work at, and he just said, dude, like there's one time me and Steven, we went to play at a place, and we had to play the backtrack on it while Steven played the drums over it. But a lot of our coworkers, they, some of them came, but then Phil, the guitarist, heard about it at the gym, and he was like, bro, I play the guitar, he's like, I'm not, I don't play like R&B, like plethora of genres, but I definitely like, I can get the practice. I can use the practice and get better or whatever. And I was like, bro, that attitude, come on down.
Get in here, bro.
Right? Step on down. Come on down. And then we started doing rehearsals pretty consistently. And Mark changed his job from being the choreographer to like singing, doing the background vocals. So
Mark's an enigma, bro. That man
Mark
is
like I know, he's like a ninja. He comes in and out, like he does his job. Like you can't solid.
Sometimes he just shows up at stuff you would never expect.
You never expect him to show up.
Like he will say nothing, and he's just there, and you're like, oh way, man. He's like, I'm
right,
here. I'm gonna do my job.
Like he showed up like he was there before you got there. I'm like, bro, like
he's like, where you been?
Where you been? Like I've been expecting you. I'm like, what? So so it was, Mark, Steve. I knew these guys for a while. Then I kind of kindled like this musical love for a band with Phil joining us. And then we just started making music. Like we just started jamming out. Jamming turned into rehearsals. Like we're like, yo, this is a solid song, so we need to, make this complete this song. This is like good. And then that kind of been a cycle. It's been it became a cycle. And then there's one time we were performing at Phil couldn't make it. He had an emergency, and then it was just me and Steven. And then Manny, the bass player, he was kind of like playing for a band before us, but he was kind of like just hanging out, whatever, because that's the type of person he is. He's like just social with everybody, talking to everybody. So we ended up playing, and then we did a song, the first song, and then Manny was like, I was like, he looked like he wanted to play. And I was like, we don't have a guitar player. Phil's out, so we're live streaming. And I was like, bro, do you want to play with us? Like, it's easy chords. And he was like, he thought about it. And I was like, bro, we'll wait. I was like, yeah. He was like, give me a second. And he like got everything set up. We, Steven started, playing the drums, whatever. I started playing with the keys a little bit so he can like set up and prep and whatever. And then from there on out, like, Manny's been our bass player since then. And then we had, we bumped into Michael. And
I've only met Michael once.
Michael, yeah.
I think it was like the first gig I did. It was at Paramount.
Maybe it was Paramount Hotel.
Back in September.
Yeah. I think that was probably September.
Is he gonna be doing a show with us?
He's gonna be doing the show. Yeah.
Okay.
So Michael is our he's a sax player.
Do you know what's crazy though?
Yeah. What?
Michael and I have a mutual acquaintance.
Really?
Which is my a mixing engineer, Daniel Alba.
Oh, really?
Because I met him when I was 16 or 17.
That sounds very familiar.
I met him, and he's like a kind of big shot mixing engineer.
Oh, really?
And I met him because the first ever opportunity I had was I went to a Berkeley 5-week.
Oh, that's
in Boston, and I met a drummer there who like him and his manager kind of took me on, and we're gonna do a band thing together, and it fell apart, and they ghosted me, and that's what.
That's what it is.
They introduced, they got him as the mixing engineer, and I just kept in touch with him. They messed up, and I'm getting lunch with him this month.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I told him, and Michael told me he said the mixing company he worked for is I was like, do you know Daniel? And he was like, he's my boss.
That's why it sounds familiar, because when we went to the studio,
if you were at the studio, that's his studio.
Yeah.
He's been like a mentor to me since I was 17.
That's amazing.
He's such a wise person.
Yeah,
he's so great and
that's
so
amazing.
kind.
Yeah,
and he's so supportive, and he's always there to help me with my stuff. But he's also just like a mentor. Like he Like we've gotten lunch a couple times, and I will just tell him where I am in my career. And
right.
Or we talk about it. It's
great.
Great guy.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, he's a cool guy. It's awesome having him every chance we get to do a show. But he was also saying before, he just loves, he just wants to get out, put music. I feel like we all can attest to
because that's what I love about you and the band is you're always doing stuff.
I know.
You're always
it's
you play at least 2 shows every month.
Yeah.
We're sometimes December it was quiet.
December holidays.
But
and stuff.
you doing stuff all the time.
We was minimum three shows a month. And then some of them were back to back almost. But the quicker, because we don't get these out. Again, I gotta make sure everyone's available. So it's not we got to get in these shows before no one's available, or the shows, the booking agents, they close it and they already found another band. But just to do enough, like I said, these shows are also practice as well, vibing and getting to really practice the dynamics and make things work in a smoother way. And then just getting just having fun too. Like I think
It's fun.
the best part about it for
fun.
me now doing music versus back then is the fun that I'm having.
Yeah.
It's like I can't really like I can't. It's a positive addiction. Like I can't really get rid of it. And I don't want to if I could, but I rather just keep it the way it is and just have it.
We have a blast every
time.
we
do have a fun. And
that's last rehearsal was awesome.
Yeah,
we
like we
were writing some.
We were just like making some new material and writing some structure to it and everything. That was amazing, and it's good to just do that. Like I really I haven't done that enough, and I'm glad to do it with the people I'm doing it with now. It puts me in a really calm space. It puts me like as crazy as it is, it's also calming. It puts me in a collective headspace where like you feel good about doing it. Sometimes I'm like, bro, this is amazing. And I can't believe I'm still doing this way, because I thought I would stop because of the situations I've been going through. But I'm like, I tend to like, continue to have things inspire me and there be reasons why,
I mean, I feel like that's the meat and potatoes of it. Is like that's exactly how it is for me. There's been times when I felt like I've been pretty close to be like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Right. But then like I hear that new song or I see or it's sometimes not even music. I'll like watch Arcane.
Right.
Be like,
Absolutely.
I'll be like, I have like it doesn't have to like I will see something in the world or some piece of art and I'm like I have to say something about this. Right. It's like I have to do something because it's like there's something in here that need and you just keep going.
I'm glad you bring up Arcane, because that's one of the movies. I mean, it's like a trilogy or whatever, but it's definitely one of those things where it's just the story and the music. Like oh
my god!
I grabbed the music. I was like, let me get the soundtrack. What is this song right here? I need this song, that song, this song, that song.
That's the shit.
And then I was like, but
the
emotions that the emotions that they're able to like display, like to get you the signal to where you're like, whoa, this music with this story right now. I'm just like, yo, this is deep right here.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I love theater. Yeah. And this is also why I'm like different in theater. I feel like because one of the biggest critiques you would say or feedback I got at the workshop was my music doesn't sound like theater music.
No.
And I was like, that's the point.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't sound like.
And it's like. I mean, some of it's more theatrical, like the Halloween musical I did was more like campy or whatever. But it was like I don't think like music is for storytelling.
Yeah,
it's a communication.
Absolutely.
Music's a language. It's communication.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to write a certain type of music to tell a story.
Absolutely.
And Arcane and also like Spider-Verse had an album. Black Panther had an album. Right. But like and fucking K-pop Demon Hunters, bro. Oh my god, that's so great. And it's also like I have taught so many little girls K-pop Demon Hunters in the past year. It's just so many. Like they cannot get enough of it. One girl, she had a notebook where she kept track of how many times she watched it.
Oh, really?
Can you guess how many times she watched it?
Don't tell me more than 10 times. More than 10?
300.
No way, bro.
That's what she said.
That's crazy.
That's what she said.
That's crazy.
I don't know. She was 8, times? So she might have been lying, but she had the receipts. She showed me. She showed me the notebook. She had dates. So I don't think she was messing around.
300 is crazy.
That's crazy.
300 is crazy.
So, but and because K-pop Demon Hunters did what Arcane did, but they brought the music into the characters,
right?
Because Arcane is genius because they have this sick fucking music, every genre that is for the story and made for the show,
right?
But none of the characters are musical.
No, exactly.
So K-pop Demon Hunters took it a step further and
made it,
No, they're singing.
The characters are,
and I love that. I love that. That's what I want to be doing. Shit like that. That's crazy.
Nah, those are amazing references, though.
All right. I want to move on to our final questions.
Let's go.
Of the episode. So I've two questions. It's kind of a two sides of the same coin question.
Okay.
which is one, what do you find to be the most discouraging in your career, and how do you overcome that? And then the kind of other side of that question is, what's next for you? Like, what's the aspiration? So it's like, what's in your way and where are you going?
I would say the discouraging part it's not as if it's the discouraging part, but it's more of like, if I'm doing too much and because there's times where like I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to, post the flyers, promote, try to get, book the shows. It's just a lot sometimes, but I've been able to like find other people to do, like, who actually like graphic designers to do the flyers and stuff like that. But I feel like I love to do it. Like, I love to play different roles, but I don't want to be taken away from the music as much. You know what I mean? I don't want to be able to be taken into like creating
wearing too many hats.
Yeah, wearing too many hats. And I feel like it's more of a, like, it can be like, dang, bro, like, this is, it can get too much. Like, it could be overwhelming, and I could be missing something that I can change in a song. Because again, while we're doing this, we're also working regular jobs. So it's like, not wanting to miss out doing something else. But I try to just stay optimistic and do what I can. What I can't, just find that person who can help me with it. Like, again, like keys, like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it may be, I try to like do less when I can and just like rock with it as long as I can. And then if there's someone to help out, like, step aside, let them help. You know what I mean? Let them help, pay them, whatever the case may be. But I feel like,
shout out Ness.
Yeah, Ness.
Shout
out to Ness, man, because
behind the camera.
It's really important, like really getting the assistance and the help you need. I feel like that's the only thing. I can't really say that there's like something big in discouragement. Like I said, I'm really doing this also for me, for my own, you know what I mean? My own journey as well. It's not just about, so I remember when I cared so much about whatever everyone else thought, like, that's when I kind of like lost what I cared about myself. So I feel like, understanding that now, that, expressing myself, doing as much as I can, loving it for what it is, not just where it will go, because it'll go where it will go.
That's some wisdom.
However,
love it for where it is,
not where it
will go. I need to fucking remember.
Right.
I'm gonna remember,
because now it's like, not tomorrow is not promised. Anything could happen, but the state, the moment is important. And if you do have down moments, I try to like, think of something good or keep myself busy. Sometimes also like getting involved, like sometimes I don't want to like avoid things, and some people like to like just, they try to do things to keep themselves busy to avoid it. And sometimes I do sit in things. Like, I do sit in, being in that place, because I feel like it's important. And it does have some value to like just sit into a moment where you're like, bro, I got to like think about this real first. And I feel like those are like those little portal pockets where dimensions you go into, and you kind of like get yourself together. But I feel like it gives you like a reboost. Like, it gives you like a reset, and then you're able to like attack what you need to attack way better than you probably did before, if you would have not had that little break, timeout commercial break. But
that's great. Yeah. You're a butterfly in the cocoon. You know what I'm saying? That's like full circle. We talked about that at the beginning. Yeah.
What was the other question though? The last one was,
where are you going? So like that's what like you're getting. So once you get past those obstacles, what's like next for you?
So next is like touring, like outside state, more tours outside state. We do so many local shows, but I would like to tour outside of the state. If we get an opportunity to go further than that, that would be amazing too. But just having different crowds, and and getting like, I was very like huge on like loving to hear people's reaction, like loving to see people's reaction in different communities, different places, I remember I performed in Switzerland.
Performed in Switzerland?
Yeah, I performed in Switzerland.
What the fuck?
I performed like I went there. I went to Bern. And then they had like I think at that time they had some festival going that happens every year in Zurich. And it was amazing reaction. Like, I mean, people are already like, "Oh, you're American." Like, we could tell, and you know me. And being American, but also a New Yorker, it's another feat. It's like, oh, wait a minute, this is different. This is,
oh my god,
you know what I mean? So having that and people, their reactions is like, wow, you know, and hearing the music, the type of music that I do perform and I sing, is, you know, they still like. Other countries, you'd be surprised that they listen to a lot of like older school, like actual like good music, like lyrical music themes. So it's like, you know, yeah.
Like Biggie Small in Switzerland.
like I mean, like not that you know, no one's knocking trap artists, but you know, they're not listening to that, like when I was there at least. So it's interesting what you hear when you go, like the reaction you get, the response you get from other places, the crowds that, you know, give you certain feedback. And it's like, even when I went to Japan and I sung, and they're so like grateful, they're like, oh my goodness, you know, so you get that reaction. And that's what I love, you know what I mean?
By the way, for those watching, this man can fucking sing. That's just nodding his head. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw him too, I was like, oh my god. Jesus.
But yeah.
Pretty good.
Sean Flight, First Flight. Follow us.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Phil, basically.
On, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. I think I have my last question.
Yes.
This is how I want to end every episode with my other guests too. I want to ask if you could say one thing to when you started. So all the way back at the beginning, whenever it was you started singing, when you were a kid, when you were in high school, the first time you wrote a song, whenever, if you had to say one thing that would have made it easier or that you would have done differently. Well, let's not say what you would have done differently. Yeah. I don't want any regrets.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you could help that version of you, what would you say?
Is it one word or a phrase
you can.
or a sentence?
Whatever you want. I feel like one word's a bit limiting.
Yeah.
What would you say to that version of you who needed help?
I would say that's a hard question. I gotta think about that.
Think about it.
I would say if I can go back, if I can talk to the little me back then, I would tell the little me there'll be a lot of distraction, but you know, focus on the things that you love, and that could be a lot. And all, you know, and don't shy away from it. You know what I mean? Just because it's a lot doesn't mean you're not capable. You're uncapable. You know what I mean? So that probably I would tell the little me that, because back then I was more like, let me stay into one category type of thing, kind of similar to what you were saying, and mom said, do everything. Yeah, do everything. If anything don't work,
mom advice.
If you don't know about doing anything, do everything.
Don't knock that mom advice, man.
Do everything.
Do everything.
Everything. All right,
man.
Screaming into the void. Yeah.
Any closing statements, Sean?
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.
Of course, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, this is amazing.
You're the first, man.
Yes, the first.
You're going to make an episode every month. So
Let's go. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. As long as y'all subscribe, click the likes, comments.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Yep. All right. And that's a wrap.
That's a Rizzy. What do I got to do this? Wait.
Fuck. That's a wrap. All right. We will see you next time on Screaming. What? I'll make some theme music.
Like some credit instinct.
We'll see you next time on Screaming Into the Void.